Hello and welcome to the Hope Series with Mennonite Mission Network. I'm Mike Sherrill. While serving as Asia Director, it was a pleasure getting to know Karen Spicher and Jae Young and their work in Korea. And I'm delighted to be with them today via Zoom. Jae Young and Karen, would you like to introduce yourselves and say a little bit about your work?
Okay, I'm Jae Young Lee. I'm a director of Korea Peacebuilding Institute and Northeast Asia Regional Peacebuilding Institute.
And I'm Karen Spicher. I have several roles. I guess the biggest of which is being a mother of 4 children, but I'm also working as communications coordinator for NARPI, Northeast Asia Regional Peacebuilding Institute, and supporting the development of our peacebuilding school, which has after-school programs in peace education for children. And I guess I should share too, we're on our sabbatical for 1 year from Peacebuilding Community, and chose to come to the US, to the rural central Pennsylvania, to be with my family for a while.
It's a great place to be. I grew up in rural Pennsylvania, more into the eastern part of Pennsylvania, but a lot of good memories growing up there and running around in the woods and playing outside and getting real dirty.
That's what our kids are doing now.
Yeah.
And
they love it.
Oh, that's great. That's great. So in this kind of time, especially now as you're on a sabbatical and have time to consider your ministries and looking back and looking forward too, are there specific things that give you hope during this kind of time that we're in?
well, coming here and we are still busy, but different busyness. Stay away from work and try to look back what we have done in past 2 decades. I think this is time for us, but also for the world, kind of take time to reorganize what we have done, especially in the Bible passage, be still and think who is at work. Oftentimes when we are busy, we thought we are agents doing all the changes, making all changes, but it's not. We are part of God's work. And I think this is a great opportunity for us to realize how vulnerable we can be. And that is why we need the faith, especially in the work of peace and reconciliation. So it's kind of time for reflection and realization, and kind of back to the basic. So to me, it's a blessing in that sense, although it's very costly. And I know we all suffer of this situation, but there's a reason why I think it's happening, and we have to see what's the message there, beyond what's happening. So it's in that sense, it's to me a meaningful time.
Oh yeah, I really appreciate, Jae Young, the way you put it.
Well, just a little more background about our lives at Peacebuilding Community. I was explaining to my cousin last night that in Korea, our work and what is our life, what is our community, it's all really together. And for our children who are homeschooling, they don't know any boundary between when you're learning and when you're not learning. They just are always learning. And that's a really beautiful way of life. It's not really a life that I need a sabbatical from or need a break from. But I was to the point where I wondered, I'm doing a lot here. Is the community going to be okay when I'm not here? I think it's given me a lot of hope. Our community is really working together, just like ants or bees taking the roles that they see they can do. It gives me hope that God is continuing to call people to serve even in this time when many people maybe feel it's safer to stay at home. It's not about my role or my being there or not. And related to what Jae said, God has a purpose and will call people to do God's work. Another hopeful thing I see in this time, more here in the US, but I think it's happening in Korea too, I'm just not there to see it, is that people can't really go to church except maybe online by Zoom. So I see the church thinking more about how to be church instead of going to church. And I hope that language will shift and our minds and hearts will shift. How do we bless those who are really lonely?
Yeah, wow, I really appreciate the way both of you have put this time into perspective, that it is a time for observing how is God working. And after all, it is God's mission in the world, that we get to be a part of it. But actually, God is the doer, and we are accompanying God's work. And Karen, the way you describe the community and how the community works together in it, peace building and reconciliation, fostering reconciliation is an organic type of lifestyle, really. And it doesn't start at 9 a.m. and stop at 5 p.m. It's how we live and breathe. And I really appreciate the way you said it's a time of shifting now from the question of how do we go to church to how do we be the church. And that really ties together the way both of you are describing doing ministry and living out being the presence of the peace of Christ. Is there anything in particular, especially too, that you see the Holy Spirit now at work in other ways in Korea or in Northeast Asia, where is the heart of your concern?
Once you left country and try to see more objectively what's happening there, and also observing what's happening in the United States, it's really sad that violence, like daily life violence, are happening in American society, especially for minority groups, the people with the colors. We are all interconnected in this time. Pandemic is definitely one of crystal example. We can't deal with this just separately. It's all connected, and we have to cooperate together. The sad reality is, even with this, big, vivid challenges, I don't think we easily changed our priority. Like, how much military spending is still there in time where people don't have enough masks. I think God tells us what is our priority and what is our common enemy. It's not, nation against nation or people against the people, but we just need to help each other and build a place for caring. I think that is a message that we are receiving in this time of challenges. Let's change our priority, go back to just the basic. To me, that's another message that I'm thinking and here and in thinking about the world.
Oh yes, I agree with you completely, Jae Young. That's so important to point out.
In the whole response to coronavirus, I've just witnessed a strong willingness of people to change their lifestyles drastically. One of our young staff at Peacebuilding, really early on, she just seemed to have insight like that this was going to spread, and she seemed to have such a burden, like, I don't want to be someone who would spread this. And other people I've witnessed have to kind of go through their own safety concerns first before they step that way. But I found a lot of just solidarity in Korean society about how to go about protecting others in this experience. And I think that's a beautiful model of care and concern for the weak that we can learn from here.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that it is a beautiful message coming from Korea to the rest of the world about caring for your neighbor and how to care for the community and express compassion and reset priorities and even modify behaviors for the care of all those around you. So that's a powerful message coming from Korea and from other places too, but especially we've seen such a beautiful example of this from South Korea, and so happy about that. Well, I want to thank you, Jae Young and Karen, for making time today. It's just been a delight to be with you, and I pray God's kindness and blessings on your family and on all your ministries. And we keep Korea and all of our friends and neighbors in our hearts and in our prayers.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Mike. We're grateful to everyone at MMN and to Mennonite Church for your care for us too.
Thanks. Blessings. Take good care.